So for me, it's the second time today. But I want to present you really a topic which came a bit out of a sudden this year. Yeah, because Marian somehow jumped on my side doing this Best of UI5 project. And I just first want to give you a bit about the background, how all that came. Because, you know, there was this UI5 lab, and some of you know that. I would say it was really a lot of the time ahead to that where it could have been in place, because at that point of time, we weren't really ready with the UI5 tooling. So the consumption of these libraries weren't so easy. And yeah, therefore, I think would it have started, let's say, a few years later with the UI5 tooling, I think it would have also become a success. Yeah, but then at some point of time, I had this state of JS, and I was always wondering why UI5 isn't there. And then I asked these guys who are doing this state of JS survey, why is UI5 not in there? And they said, hey, well, you need to look into and bring it into best of JS. And this best of JS inspired me in a way that it's really bringing the best assets of the JavaScript development environment together, and you can look up what is all there. You have some mechanisms to search things, and together with that we have really a growing ecosystem of tools for the middlewares, for the tasks, for the generators. A lot of assets here are growing, and we have not really an overview what's all there. And with that, I raised in some of the sessions when we sit together the idea again, best of UI5, wouldn't this be great? And with that, then Marian somehow started with that and showed me, hey, look, Peter, it's there. And yeah, I think it's now your stage, because you build it, and you should also show it how you done that.
Yeah, thanks, Peter. So let's just switch to the site itself and have a look what we have right now. So that's the site itself. So you already heard today, and you're going to hear tomorrow, there are a lot of components you can use. There are a lot of like middleware tasks, application, and all it's somewhere, and you have to find it. So that's where the idea came from. Let's have one site that combines all, where you can search quickly what you actually need, and how can you use it. So as Peter already mentioned, our more or less template was best of JS. And if you look at that site, there's like a homepage with hot projects. There's a search bar, projects, tags, and that's where we all started. So we can build something similar to that, where you can integrate all of them. And when we compared that to the state of right now, best of UI5.org, it looks quite similar. And that was our first goal, more or less. So now you have hot packages. If you look at best of JS, they have the hot projects sorted by number of stars from the GitHub repository. We can't really use that because there are not that many stars, because UI5 itself is a little bit smaller than the whole JavaScript ecosystem. So what we use here is the NPM downloads from the last 2 weeks. So always, if there's something new or something is growing very quickly, it's going to be on top on that page. And then if you search for something, there's a search bar, and just either you can search in description or for the name, or you can search here by all the types we have. For example, the generator got mentioned a lot, got mentioned the last one. And if you search or filter for that one, you can look all those generators we already have here right now. And as Tobias already mentioned, you can actually create your own generator and publish it in the UI5 community or in GitHub in your own organization. And we can add that to this site as well. Right now we have 6 generators. For example, the TypeScript generator, UI5 library generator, control generator, so quite a few. But we can add a lot more to that. As already mentioned, we have some VS Code instances. Currently there's one, but we can add more. if there is any, some sample applications like the open UI5 sample app, you already probably know, and the new UI5 TypeScript, Hello World. There's a text overview, like what kind of types are here. Every single package we already add here have some text. So you, for example, you know, maybe the UI5 ecosystem showcase where a lot of those middleware and tasks are. So that's a tag to show just those. And at the bottom, you can search for the license we have right here. And similar to the timeline here, like again, it was a template for us. We implemented that one here as well. And you can see the latest one, for example, the VDI is most of the time at top because it's actually changing a lot. And overview from all the contributors, you probably know that phase. And yeah, a lot of the faces,
misleading.
A lot of the faces at the top. All right. So what you can do is you can add your own package. So that's what we do right here is a big button, add your own package. And if you press that, there's an issue template with all the things or the prerequisites we have right here, what you need to add your own package. And it's pretty simple, just follow the steps. I think Tobias actually did that a few weeks ago. So he did it successfully, so it works. So it's quite simple to add that one here, and it's on that page as well. Of course, that's written in UI5, specifically OpenUI5. So let's get a bit to the technical side. We have a quite extensive README, how we build that one. A little bit about the views itself. For example, something I missed right now is quite small in the URL, but if you search for something, quite small, yeah, but you can copy that link to your clipboard and save or bookmark that URL if you save something.
Did you also navigate to the details, by the way?
Oh, the details, of course.
Because it's beautiful.
That's the object page layout we use here. It's also in the OpenUI5, so a lot more details. For example, there's this chart, the README, and at the bottom all the versions, which brings you to the NPM packages. And a lot of, yeah, the links, GitHub, NPM, author, license. That's the data is mostly from GitHub and NPM. So back to the README again. Explain here the views and all the features from the views. And let's get a bit more into the technical detail. We have at the bottom is the website, what you see right there. So we develop everything in the main branch. And then if there's a push to the main branch, we push it to the docs branch. And from there, it gets deployed to GitHub Pages. So it's free hosting for us, more or less, for the page. And for the back end, there's just the TypeScript scripts, which get the data from GitHub, NPM, and the Visual Code marketplace. And all the data we combine to JSON files. And the website just simply retrieves the raw JSON files from the GitHub repository, which is called Best of UI5 data. And then again, I repeat a lot of things already mentioned here and mentioned tomorrow. We use the TypeScript app generator to just quickly set something up. As Peter mentioned, I could quickly show him something because I just used the generator and type something together. And the first POC was very quickly done. Then the next thing is the external dependencies. So we use two. One is the UI5 CCMD, which uses the Mark.js library and was firstly developed by Volker Muessig. And we use that as well, which just passes the README. And we use the chart.js with the UI5 tooling modules. So that's not wrapped. We more or less use it raw, straight from npm, and that's just showing the npm downloads. Then again, already mentioned quite a few times here, the UI5 web components, but this time not in a React or Angular application, but in the open UI5 application. And we use it here in the timeline. So that timeline here is the timeline from the UI5 web components main. Then again, built-in deployment, everything is done with GitHub Actions. Already today mentioned quite a few times as well, and in the workshops, VDF5, we have some tests, everything with GitHub Actions and VDF5. And just backend, just a few seconds. And we have a little feature. It's when you, when the product owner, in this case is Peter, has an idea and he comes to me and says, yeah, let's just develop this feature, and I just hack something together. And he usually doesn't have time in his role. So how can I show him that quickly? Just in this case, deploy that branch to Azure Static Web Apps. So I have an example here. So he had the idea that the contributors should default be in a collapsed state. So I hacked something together, and the only thing you have to do is label that deploy test. And when that label is added, it will deploy automatically to Azure Static Web Apps. And when you open that, you see the state of the branch. And when you go to the contributors, it's in a collapsed state, and you can expand the details. It's not really, it's still a draft, but it's already something Peter can react to.
Yeah, it would not look like such a distance between Volker and me, having 500 commits diff.
You shouldn't look at the details like, well, yeah, 500. He's really active. All right. And in the end, just have a little look at the backend. So at the backend here, as I said, it's everything with TypeScript as well. So we have a source JSON. So all the packages we crawl more or less are here in the source JSON. So if you add a package as well, it's going to be in the source JSON. So at the top, what we added first was the monorepo with UI5 ecosystem package. And if you see here, there's the type middleware, all those middlewares you're probably going to use, like live reload. I think that's probably one of the most used ones. And it's in here. And then if you look at the bottom, there are all the new ones like that from Volker, or the chart library, and VDI5 is there as well, of course.
The owner needs to be changed. UI5 community, pull request.
Ooh. There we go. And I'm not going to go into great detail here, but there's a few TypeScript classes, like example, the GitHub repos TypeScript. That's going to get all the data from the GitHub npm, from the npm, like all the downloads history and all the metadata, which we generate in the end, the JSON, which the website will request then. So there are quite a few. It's called data JSON, versions JSON. That's for the versions view. And there's also, you can also run it locally as well to try it out.
Yeah, just to add maybe briefly, because of the setup, you didn't mention so far really in detail. We build it in a way that there are two repositories, the best of UI5 website and the best of UI5 data. Both can be found on GitHub, and in the UI5 community organization, that's the place. But besides that, I think we want to also give a little bit of an outlook, and we need to go back to the slides. Is it back? Yeah. The next steps, what we have in mind, because I think it's a great start, and what you see, what is possible, it's really that we have now a place where we can look up all these different things. And for that, we want to also work on the UI5 application part, right? So we have some ideas on that.
Yeah, just in general to round it off, we have open sourced the project manager as well. So we do everything by issues and pull requests. So everything when we have an idea, it's everything in the issues tab in GitHub. So what we want to do is also the performance improvements, as Peter mentioned in the keynote as well. There's quite a few improvements to be done. Then best practices. So I wouldn't call that best practices right now. I would more call it showcase what you can do with an open UI5 application right now. Again, the condensed contributors view and quite a few other ideas. So that's why there are a few dots there. We always have new idea, or Peter more or less.
No, it's not really true. It's coming together with the community. But at the end, the best of UI5 should not be only the place where the best of UI5 stuff is inside. It also should build like the best of UI5 way. So it's built with TypeScript. It's using the modern features. It's following the best practices and stuff like that. And that's really also becoming a showcase how app development looks like here in this case. This is also one thing. On the repository setup side, you want to automate a lot of things. There's still plenty of things possible, and Marian did a great job with this deployment because it's helped me a lot in just clicking and seeing what he has done. From a content perspective, there are also ideas going on. You saw this morning that I used this easy UI5 add command, and the data was completely taken from best of UI5 because the metadata has all this content already. And there is more ideas that we also can enhance the development experience for the UI5 in a more way that you can also, for example, use it for adding libraries and stuff like that. So there could be plenty of more things. And then it's not only the libraries from sub UI5 or from open UI5, it could be even going beyond and integrate the libraries from the community. In addition, what would be also great, and we had it recently as well, that we open up the easy UI5, that it not takes the generators from the UI5 community plus your personal GitHub organization. It could use really the content, the data, the metadata from best of UI5, because this is the central place where all the things are connecting. Though that's really the point what we want to go further. And yeah, basically I said it already, the ecosystem part. This is more or less also my wish, that best of UI5 is the central place where all this community work somehow is brought together, listed together, and can be looked up. Yeah, with that, we have some call to action.
Yeah, the first point is really just general. Join the community. Like the UI5 community is really, or becomes really a central place for us. So it's not like closed. You can really, if you have great repositories, we can integrate them. So it's really a central place for all the great repositories and projects we have in the UI5 community. So really just join them and have a look what we have on at repositories there right now.
And don't be shy, reach out to us. So Marian also came to me, or Volker, or anyone else. So it's really, if you have ideas, join us, come to us. Bring them in, think about own usages for that. Maybe you have even also a great idea. We can grab that idea. We can also show that one of the next UI5ers live, one of our monthly webinars or stuff like that. And it's really, there is a lot of possibilities how we can leverage all the things what's there. And this is, I think, the community spirit should be about. And yeah, it's not that only we from the SAP side think how things go further. I think this is now really a great example where the community and the UI5 team from SAP is working together.
Yeah, and you don't have to know really like, oh my God, I can't really use UI5. I'm starting right now. It doesn't matter. Like, you just provide feedback. It's a great, like, if you have an idea, or if you don't like something about the page, just open the issue. Like, it really, I'm developing more or less right now on my own. It's really just Peter and some other community members who really contribute already really good feedback, but it's from the community for the community. So I really want to create something, or we want to create something which we really use. And that's quite already a few hours put in there. So I really want to create something which contributes something to your workflow.
Yeah, that's it. I think with that, we are done.
Questions in the auditorium? Oh, there's one in the very back.
Okay, you can make that.
Felix, do you want to take the throw or should I?
Oh, I can try that.
Okay. Stay safe. Oh, wait. Oh. Oh my gosh.
Oops.
Is it working? It's broken. No.
That was the rest. So maybe now you have to run upwards.
Yeah, next time I'll just bring the mic.
Yeah.
The highlight of the day. Crashing microphones.
Oops.
Is this on? Okay, second try. Watch out.
Yeah, don't
Close it.
Okay, so my question is, when will best of UI5 be added to best of UI5?
Yeah, as soon as we have the showroom for the applications, because this is also one thing what we have in mind for evolving it. We have this UI5 showcases GitHub repository built a while back where people could provide their showcases. And we also thought of incorporating exactly that, because then we could also contribute our best of UI5 to the showcases or the showroom of best of UI5.